I love this hobby. I love the building, I love the painting, really everything about it. And for me personally, when I really like something, I dive in head first and just only do that thing. Unfortunately, that can lead to burnout. And so in this video, we're gonna talk about some helpful tips to hopefully prevent you from getting burned out, or if you are kind of feeling that right now, maybe help dig yourself out of that slump a little bit. Hey everybody, it's Richard here from Crash Course Hobbies, and today we're talking about burnout. The first thing I highly recommend to prevent burning yourself out is set goals that you can meet. So don't go out and buy a starter box or a combat patrol or a battle force and expect to paint it in a weekend. While it's definitely doable, it's just certainly not a reasonable goal. I would much more recommend just picking a single squad, whether it's 5 Space Marines or 10 Necron Warriors, whatever it might be, and just say, I'm gonna try to get this unit painted up by maybe a game that you have scheduled for next week or something like that. Clear your desk of all the other models and projects and just keep that one thing there for you. That way you're not overwhelmed by looking at everything else that you have to get done. Just keep it small, keep it simple in bite-sized chunks, and that way you'll get that gratification of finishing the project, which will help you not get bogged down and keep you motivated for what's to come. The next tip is one that I've personally used on several different occasions, and that is it's okay to just stop a project altogether. I had a Custodes army that I was working on. I really liked the color scheme, but for whatever reason, I just lost the passion for it. I just didn't want to work on it, so I boxed it all up, put it on the shelf, and ignored it for like a year. But then one day I opened it up and I looked at it and I really liked the scheme, and that inspiration came back and I ended up knocking out the entire army in just a couple of weeks. And it's okay to just decide, you know what, I don't want to work on this anymore, and shelve it, because you'll probably come back to it later, or if you find that you just didn't care about it for another year or whatever it might be, just trade it or sell it. Pick up something that you are inspired by and do that. I mean, this is our hobby and we don't have a ton of free time. So don't force yourself to work on something that you're not excited about. It's just not a healthy thing, and it's definitely gonna burn you out if you do that. Third thing is kind of in that same vein, but give yourself a palette cleanser. So if you've been working on Space Marines for the last month, and you're getting ready to start a new project, maybe pick up a single character from Age of Sigmar or from Conquest or some other game and just paint something totally different. It can be really refreshing to work on something after you've been painting the same color scheme over and over and over again. And even if maybe you're not feeling burned out by the Space Marines, or you just happen to really like painting Ultramarines and you painted 10,000 points, head up to your local GW store and just get the free model of the month. Or pick up, a box from Age of Sigmar or something like that, and just give yourself something different to work on. You might find that you're utilizing different painting techniques than you use with those Ultramarines, or different colors, or it might inspire you to decide to pick up a different project. And I find that bouncing back and forth between different squads from different armies or different projects really helps to kind of get rid of the stagnation and the kind of sameness that you get when you're working on just building up a ton of points of a single army. And I found that to be a really powerful tool to keep you interested in your hobby. Next thing is just don't force it. Sometimes you're not going to want to paint, and that's okay. You don't have to paint every single day or every single week. You might go through spurts where you're really into it and you're painting up armies, and then you might have times where, you just rather play a video game or go outside or do whatever, and that's okay. Sometimes for me, I do feel like I need to tell myself, hey, sit down and paint, and after 20 minutes of painting, I look up and before I know it, I've been at the desk for 3 hours and I'm enjoying it again. So, while it's okay to say, hey, I'm gonna sit down and paint this day, but if you're just not feeling it, don't force it. This is a fun hobby. This is what we're supposed to be doing for enjoyment. And again, I can't stress this enough. Don't force yourself to do it. Now, also one thing there is setting goals to have projects done can help motivate you, but we're talking burnout here, not motivation. So I'd just say play it safe. If you're feeling like you're not having fun, go do something else that makes you happy. And the final tip that I recommend is you don't have to paint all your miniatures to the highest possible standard that you can do. A lot of times what I'll do is I will paint my characters to a really high standard and do all my fancy techniques and all my fancy blends and glazing and edge highlighting and all this kind of stuff, but you're not gonna win golden demons with your Necron warriors or, you know, your regular intercessors or whatever you might do. You know, you're just trying to get them ready for the table. And sure, if you just like painting your stuff slow, methodically, and getting stuff to where you want it to be the highest possible standard that it can be, if that's how you enjoy your hobby, that's totally fine. But I think for most of us that are just trying to paint to get ready for a game, and you know, we watch YouTube tutorials on all these things that teach us that we need to paint at the highest standard and use all these techniques, it's not reasonable or realistic to paint all of your models at this incredibly high standard. So paint your troops at a passable, nice level, and then really go just all out on your characters and the fun models, because they're going to be on the table longer anyways. Your troops and all that, they're going to die. So my rule of thumb is the longer a model is going to be alive on the table, the nicer I'll paint it, and all the chaff and little stuff that's going to die quickly anyways, I don't spend nearly as much time on those. Well, that's it for my tips on burnout, guys. I hope it helps you out. I know I've definitely dealt with this stuff on several occasions, and so sometimes it's helpful for me to just take a step back and think about these things. If you enjoyed this video, hey, I'd love to see you subscribe. I've got lots more videos coming for you in the near future, and you can follow me on Instagram at Crash Course Hobbies. But as always, guys, support your local game stores. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.